Okay. Example 3, we're verifying this one. Again, you would want to start with whichever side you think looks more complicated. To me, it looks like the left side is more complicated. So we've got this fraction. Usually fractions are kind of tough. But you don't really see what to do. One thing you can always do is change things into sine and cosine, I suppose. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split up the fraction. Okay? I'm going to split up the fraction, and that's going to say tangent t over sine t cosine t minus cotangent t over sine t cosine t. Try to keep your left side lined up with your left side in case you want to switch over and start working on that right side. But all I did was split up my fraction. Imagine if you had x minus 5 over 7. That's the same thing as saying x over 7 minus 5 over 7. That's all I did. Okay? All I did was I split up into two fractions. Normally, you wouldn't think that would help, but it does when you're trying to cancel things, and that's what's going to happen. Hopefully something will cancel out, and I can clean this up, and it will look more like the right side. Looks nothing like it at this point. Okay? So, you know, what can I do? What can I do? Well, I can change things into sine and cosine. That's a good strategy to use when you're stuck. When in doubt, change things into sine and cosine. So that tangent t is going to be sine t over cosine t. And over here, that cotangent t, that would be cosine t over sine t. Everything else can just stay the same for now. I've got this super complicated looking fraction. Okay, two super complicated looking fractions. But notice you're dividing fractions, and something that we always do when we're dividing fractions, what we should always be able to do is multiply by the reciprocals. Okay, if you notice you're dividing fractions, maybe it would be a good idea to just multiply by the reciprocal. So that's sine t over cosine t times 1 over sine t cosine t. Okay. If you look at that, you see something that's going to cancel out there? Something's going to cancel out. This is going to be nice. Okay. This is going to work for us. Minus cosine t over sine t times that reciprocal 1 over sine t cosine t. So again, the very best of you are going to see what cancels out. You're going to see what's left and what that turns into. And you're going to be able to see that how that matches up to the right side. You're going to be able to plan ahead like 2 steps, okay, maybe 3. I can usually do about 3 steps ahead, okay. So, see how that sine t cancels out? That leaves me 1 over cosine squared t minus over here. You see how that cosine t cancels out? Leaving 1 over sine squared t. Now, every time I clean something up, I'm going to look back at the other side and see if I can make those two the same. And maybe you see it right now. I know 1 over cosine. 1 over cosine is secant. Okay, so this is going to be perfect. This is going to be perfect. I can see that 1 over cosine squared is equal to secant squared t. And 1 over sine squared t is going to be cosecant squared t. That's a perfect match. Secant squared t minus cosecant squared t. That's what I want. Okay? That's what I want. And as soon as I see the left side equals the right side, that's how I'm going to finish. So you're going to write QED, and that's going to let everybody else know that you're finished. Okay? QED, again, is not the answer. That's just a period at the end of the sentence.